I know there's a lot of things that like the calls to action. I know, remember too, you had some in before, so it's interesting to see what is done. So I think maybe Mark will give an update, see as to what's happening, and we have a little bit on the schedule. So throughout the day, I'll be updating you and some of the breakouts, etc. So it is part of the preliminary session, but the one that knows all and sees all, and it'll be Mark.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, but thanks, Fred. My name is Mark Buell. I'm a senior advisor with the Indigenous Connectivity Institute. This is actually the ninth Indigenous Connectivity Summit, and it's come a long way since the very first one in Santa Fe uh, a lot of years ago. It's kind of crazy to think that. But I would first like to say, a big thank you to Grandma Karen, because I think her words really set the tone for what the summit's actually about. This isn't, if you came for a regular conference, one where sessions start and end on time, one where you're going to learn a lot from a group of people at the front, you're in the wrong place. We've always, from day one, approached the conference as it's not people on the stage imparting knowledge to you. We believe the collective knowledge of everyone in the room is where the real power is. And we try to capture that through a few ways. One of the big outputs of each summit is a set of calls to action that are developed by this entire group. We think these calls to action, which are not just for government, they're for Indigenous leadership, they're for the private sector, they're for community members, that if they were adopted, we'd make great advances in digital equity for Indigenous communities across Inuit, Nunangat, and Turtle Island. Sorry. We do that through a couple of different ways. Natalie will talk about the big one, but we also want to capture the knowledge in the room. So after each panel that we have 15-minute table level discussions. You'll be given 3 questions and you'll work together as a table to sort of solve that. There's no reporting back. There's nothing like that. We just collect the paper and capture it. But we also, with our youth delegates and others in the room, which Natalie will talk about, meet each day to discuss what really stuck out for the conference. So I'll get Natalie, my colleague for many years and many organizations. Wow, it's like 20 years. Yeah. To talk about how we develop the calls to action.
Hi, thank you, everyone. It has been 20 years, and I'm now at the, I was going to say Indigenous Connectivity Institute, not yet. No, I'm at the Internet Society, and I'm Senior Director for North American Government and Regulatory Affairs. And the Internet Society is actually where the Indigenous Connectivity Summit was first started, and it has since transitioned to this wonderful community of advocates that have formed the Indigenous Connectivity Institute. So I'll talk a bit about the calls to action. As Mark said, this is a really tangible output that comes out of these yearly summits that help inform what's needed to get us closer to our shared goals of connectivity in Indigenous communities. And the way that we go about developing is we basically try to be as inclusive as possible. There's some policy recommendations, there's some recommendations for funders, there's all kinds of recommendations, but you don't need to be an expert in these areas to contribute to the development of the calls to action. As Mark said, folks that are on this stage are learning just as much as the folks that are sitting around this room. So what we'll do is at the end of each day, we're going to meet in this room. For anyone who's interested in joining, even if you just want to understand what the calls to action are, join us, and we're just going to share our thoughts about what stood out for us today. What's needed, what has changed since last year. And on that note, I do want to say that I think we can all acknowledge there's been a lot of changes in the last year, both in Canada and the US. These sessions are meant to be safe, inclusive spaces. They're not going to be recorded. They're not going to be live streamed. We will have some note takers that will take notes on the kinds of things that we're sharing without identifying folks. But really, this knowledge is what is going to help us update the calls to action so that we, Indigenous Connectivity Institute, the Internet Society, and anyone else who does advocacy in the space has a resource to help ground us in what's needed to move us forward. And I think, this year, more than any, is probably a really timely time to have this conversation. And I look forward to learning from all of the folks in this room about how do we move forward given what has changed and where we need to move towards. So thank you. We'll be doing this at the end of every day. Just stick around and I look forward to meeting you all. Thank you.
Just one more quick thing. I did want to acknowledge that we are in Ottawa. That wasn't the initial plan. We were supposed to hold the summit in May in the Lummi Nation, which is in Washington State. But as Natalie said, a lot of things have changed of late. So we moved the summit to here. So thank you all for joining us here. With regard to the policy team meeting, it's very informal. Even if you're not super interested in helping us build the calls to action, it's a great way to just sort of decompress and talk about what you heard during the day. So I hope as many of you as possible can join us, but thank you.
Thank you.